All right. I'd like to welcome everyone to 2025 SEMA. I can't believe it's here already. We're going to start off just kind of covering all the wonderful things that we're going to be going on this week. There's so many different events and educational opportunities. And Luis, thank you for joining us. We'll start off with you with SEMA.
Yeah, awesome. So, should I do an intro? Awesome. So, my name is Luis Morales. I oversee vehicle technology and product development for SEMA. And I am tasked every year to put together what is known as the Future Tech Studio exhibit. So it's all about all the new technologies and how that's, evolving the automotive industry and how it impacts the aftermarket and presents new opportunities and challenges at the same time. So it's always an exciting time, and I'm always grateful to be here amongst the collision and repair group, because I learned a lot from this group on my initial journey on ADAS technology. So I'm always grateful to this group. I'm always staying connected. So I'm excited about this.
The ADAS technology is one thing that it affects everybody here. I don't think many people realize how much it affects them. But if you're modifying vehicles or repairing vehicles, you have to do something with that ADAS, and you have to pay attention to it. So that's a real big part of this show this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that for many years in the past, there was no direct connection between that, right? Like ADAS technology and modification were completely separate. Now we're growing those ties together, and it's complex, but it's also challenging, and it's fun, it's engineering. We're excited about it.
All right, so Michael.
Just going to kick it over to me.
So SCRS, what do you guys got going on?
I'm Michael Bradshaw. I'm the chairman of the Society of Collision Repair Specialists. We have a ton going on this week. I'm probably going to forget to mention some of it because there's so much going on. We have our repair-driven education series. We've got a lot of talented individuals and speakers that are going to help educate the industry. We're really excited about that. We've got our OEM Summit on Thursday, where we're going to delve down a rabbit hole of post-repair safety inspections in the collision environment. And we're going to kind of cover that soup to nuts, and it's going to be a really good day going through those processes and the things that the shops struggle with when we talk about safety inspections. We've got a skill competition going on at our booth all week that is put on by Skillvary, Milwaukee, and SCCE. I think there's actually over $100,000 of prizes that we're going to give away to local collision repair schools. The winner of the skills competitions get to select the school, so they get to give back to the community school of their choice. That's going to be a super neat thing that we get to see all week. Scott, you should stop by and try your hand at it. We've got virtual welding and virtual refinish, okay? I think me and you, with $100 each, okay, we'll have a contest, and we'll see how it goes. And hopefully one of us can get to pick a school of our choice to give to. How's that sound?
That sounds like a good time. It wouldn't be Vegas with a little bit of gambling.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, my palms are sweating already just talking about it. It sounds really exciting. So.
It's just nice to know I'll win, so it's fine.
Well, that's good. I appreciate the confidence, but we'll see what happens.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge
accepted.
Challenge accepted. So I'm going to let Chris and Kenna talk a little bit about some things that they're looking forward to as well.
I guess I'll go next. Don't forget about the RDE education, that repair-driven education series that's going on all day today, tomorrow, and I think Thursday too. There's some classes. A little bit of everything covered there, so I think there's something for everyone. Also, the red carpet awards ceremony tonight that's happening over at Resorts World. That's always one of my favorites. A lot of people show up to that, so it's really fun to connect with some old friends there and just celebrate some people who are doing some really cool things in our industry. Chris?
Hi, my name is Chris Burton. I am the vice chair for SCRS. A lot of things, actually, right? So super excited about this week. Just to add to what these two have said, we actually CIC this afternoon. Looking forward to heading over there. And then also on Thursday night is our after party, which is always a good time.
And that after party is always pretty awesome up there. And but it's great because SEMA is one of the events where we really get to have time to connect with everybody and network and get to know somebody and make those connections. And that's how a lot of things a lot of positive things in the industry start. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people that haven't been to SEMA probably overlook and don't think about is how much opportunities there are to build that network and get involved in all these different things going on. A little shameless plug for the stuff we have at ICAR going on. So in the stage area, we have 40 different presentations over the 4 days. We have the virtual reality demo area where they're actually going through and doing some ADAS dynamic calibration virtual reality, which is a really cool thing. I mean, you're actually going through and doing a dynamic calibration, and it's something that once you're in the goggles, it's amazing how the whole world disappears and you don't realize you're in a virtual environment. We also have the welding demo area back here again, and we have our classrooms as well this year. And unlike previous years, we've actually shortened them. They're about an hour long, and you actually are going to get ICAR credit for continuing education and things like that. So there's a lot of great opportunities there. And I think that, it's amazing when you look around the show, how many people are here, all the different pieces of equipment that have been brought in here. You look at some of the booths around here and just the amount of time it takes to set up welders and frame racks and vehicles on those racks and body and whites and all the coordination that comes into SEMA. Luis, you probably know better than most what it takes to pull this show off.
It's amazing how fast the halls can transform, within a matter of hours, right? If you were here 24 hours ago, there's forklifts, there's crates everywhere.
A bomb went off in here. I mean, there's stuff everywhere. It's crazy.
It is chaotic, and it's just amazing how it'll transform by 9 a.m. this morning. And I adding to what you were mentioning, though, it can be, for those that have not been to SEMA in the past and they see it through the lens of media and photography and videography, you don't get the full story and experience through that. Especially talking to some of the experiences that folks can have through the VR. Like, who would have thought that you can do VR and understand dynamic calibration? Like, that's impressive, right? Somebody needs to try that. And then get hands-on with a lot of these tools that are here as well. So it's just a great opportunity to, again, get a hands-on experience, get a chance to network, and meet new folks in the industry.
So I know you mentioned the safety inspections, which that's been a hot button topic for the industry the last few years, I'd say, and it's really starting to gain some momentum. So I think, on our wrap up, I'd really like to kind of dig into a lot of what was discussed in there and cover some of that, because I think that's a lot of, what the industry needs is a little bit of guidance and understanding what's going on, what the current state is, and how we can make it better. Because I think around that, there's so much misinformation. And that's probably one of the biggest things that we have to, as an industry, combat.
Yeah, that misinformation and disinformation is real in 2025, So I think safety inspections are a crucial part of what we have to do as collision repairers. But to your point, the misinformation that is out there and the lack of consistency, not only from shop to shop, but from insurance carrier to carrier, right? Like, there's very little consistency in how those things are approached, and even from manufacturer to manufacturer. And so I think it's such a case-by-case basis, looking at that vehicle, looking at what that manufacturer requires based on that specific type of loss, what occurred in the collision event. It's super time-consuming to get your arms wrapped around that. And I think one of the things that I'm really excited about is I think the full day of our OEM Summit is going to walk through every aspect from varying points in the industry, right? From an OE perspective, also from a shop perspective, from a trainer perspective. So you can really get an idea of where everybody's coming from when they require these safety inspections or when they document these safety inspections and how they perform them, and even the checkpoints and that have been created in shop environments to ensure that these safety inspections are being performed and they're being documented appropriately. I think it's going to be a long day, but it's going to be packed full of information. I think it's one you definitely don't want to miss.
Well said, Michael. I think it's definitely a lot to navigate, right? So there's a lot of dynamics at play, but for us as repairers, it's pretty simple, right? So we just follow what the OEM says and just stay consistent with that throughout our message.
And I know, like, a lot of people, when they translate what the OEM says, they don't necessarily understand it, and how one person defines it can vary greatly because, when they say, well, you have to inspect something, what does that mean? They don't give you a clear definition, and I think those are things that, there's going to be a lot of more conversations, a lot of work at the OEM level to help bring us that clarification, because I think that's one of the things we're lacking. Because if you say, oh, well, you need to inspect it, does that mean I take a mirror under the dash and look at it and say, yeah, it looks okay? Or am I taking it apart and looking for specific things? And those are the things that we need to work with the OEMs and the whole industry to bring understanding to, get better clarification from the OEMs, because a lot of times, in my opinion, the OEMs don't know what we need. They're writing from service procedures and they're worried about that. But when it comes from, okay, after a collision, they don't really have an understanding of what we're looking for or why we need to look for it. And we have to kind of go to them and say, hey, here are the things that we're running into. These are the questions we have. What information can you give us that's better? And a lot of times they have to go and do research to figure that out. So I think one thing that, I think the SRS inspection, the safety inspection really highlights is how SEMA's been a great place for a lot of those kinds of conversations to happen. I mean, we've gone from ultra high strength steel. Back when I first started coming to SEMA, everything was about how are we going to deal with ultra high strength steel. And then carbon fiber kind of crept in there. And then it was ADAS and EV as kind of came at the same time. Now, so when you come here, you really get to see the evolution of our industry. And that's, I think, a really important piece that so many people miss.
Yeah, and I think to your point, what's so interesting about SEMA, and I think this is my 12th year coming, so I've got to experience a lot. I've had to suffer through a lot of days where I didn't feel the best because I didn't really get much sleep the night before. I don't know why that happened, but I guess Vegas, right? But I think from a repair perspective, right, that you can cover every aspect. So there's the educational opportunities to learn about the new technologies and what's needed from a shop level to employ the processes and equipment in your business to handle the new technologies. And now you can go to the equipment vendors that are producing the equipment, right? And you can look at that equipment and get hands-on with the equipment. And I mean, if there's a piece of equipment that you need in our world and you can't find it here, you're probably not going to be able to find it.
You should invent it.
Right, yeah, you should invent it. That's right. And so I think those two things are just super, super crucial to continue to develop and improve and learn about those new technologies, but also the network aspect of it, right? Like, so I'm interfacing with other shops, with equipment vendors, hearing solutions that other people have found, providing input on what would help us as an industry. Like, I just think there's so much value in every part of SEMA, and unless you really consider that and have been here to experience it, you probably don't realize it. And then I think we've even got, there's an entire ADAS area set up. If you want to touch on that, talk about that, because that it gets in more to like the hands-on, and I can go experience what kind of area is needed to perform these calibrations, what equipment is going to be needed in conjunction with it, how does that look and function in reality, so I can now get a sense of how can I employ this in my shop, and what do I need to get my shop ready for that. So Luis, if you want to talk a little bit about the ADAS area.
Yeah, very happy to do that, because there's one thing about showcasing a product, say a calibration unit in your booth, and just telling your buyer about it, right? But there's a whole different aspect of taking that in front of a vehicle and actually showcasing what is required to make it operational. What are the requirements per the OEM, per your equipment that you're putting at the hands of your buyer. So we've created an area upstairs in the upper south hall here where we have various tool manufacturers with a vehicle, and they're showing you how much space is required to do a proper calibration, what it takes to do the setup. A lot of that stuff is time consuming in many cases, and a lot of folks that are buying equipment or adopting that service into their shop are not well aware of what it takes. So it's there's a big education aspect to it, and within that booth, we also have an education stage where we do have those tool manufacturers going up on stage and talking about that to the greater audience. And to your point on education, that's another thing that a lot of folks miss at SEMA. Even when you're here as an exhibitor, as an exhibitor, you're glued to your booth. You're trying to get buyers. You're trying to grow your business. But there's a lot of education that you can miss out on, and there's subject matter experts here, from every single part of the industry. So, staying in touch with that, definitely growing the OEM connections. We have to stay, grow those as we continue to move forward with the technology, because if they don't see our perspective in the aftermarket of repairing vehicles and making sure that the safety systems are online throughout the life cycle, that is a huge gray area for our industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing that, when I first started coming to SEMA, 13 years ago already, it was, the first thought was, well, okay, we'll go see the whole show. Well, pretty quickly, you realize that that's impossible to even walk through all the halls and see all the different booths, but then you throw in all the education and all the experiences, CICs going on. You could bring, 15 people here and still not get to everything you could possibly go and see. And, I think that's one thing that so many people need to think about. And, not everybody can come every year, but you should definitely come out here, because there's so many opportunities that you're missing out on. And to your point, if, you can kind of get a little bit of research and figure out, is that right for my business or not? Is this something that I want to even delve into? Because, I'm going to stand up an ADAS calibration facility is not a simple task that you can just turn on a dime.
That's a great point about there's so much to see. I was coming for like 4 years and found a whole area that I'd never even wandered through before. And I try to connect with Chris. We see a lot of the show together. He some reason is always in the wheel and tire area, and I'm not really sure what's going on there. I think I need to go check out the wheel and tire area. Probably there's something I'm missing.
It's new opportunities for our business, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. But yeah, I think it's something, if you come once, you're definitely going to come back, because you walk away knowing I saw a small percentage of what there was to see, and really you can come back with a plan next year to tackle the things that you didn't get to do. And it's hard because there is so much value everywhere, right? There's value walking the show and interfacing with the vendors that are all out here, but the educational stuff is just as valuable. So.
It's consistent, Michael, right? So I think the message is, just because you came last year, don't assume it's going to be the same next year, right? It's so much changing and so much evolving.
Absolutely.
All right. Any final thoughts from anybody?
No, just, again, you guys have a ton of stuff going on. The stage is going to be going, come to the iCar booth, come to the SCRS booth, go to CIC today, go to the repair-driven education, come participate in the various competitions we have. The awards, red carpet awards that we do tonight is such a special evening. So much of the industry, iCar is going to be giving out awards there. SCRS is, I think, Fender Bender, Body Shop Business. Anybody in the industry that has an award to give out is probably going to give it out tonight. So it's a neat deal to be a part of. Again, we'd love to have everybody there. And then our party on Thursday. That's, honestly, it's the best. We have a great time every year. I almost am able to pull Chris away from the wheel and tire section and get him to the party, but only for a little bit. So. Oh.
Ideas Collide.
Yeah. We've got
Ideas
Collide, which is going to be on
Wednesday.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yep. So that'll be tomorrow afternoon. I think we've got 10, 12 speakers. It's really forward thinking. I think that's a really neat deal that we do as well. So that it's a slate is packed full. If you question when you need to be somewhere, come by the iCar booth, come by the SCRS booth. We will get you pointed in the right direction. If you want to go to the wheel and tire section, see Chris.
If I could just really quick, just expand on one thing, competition-wise. So the 3 companies that have donated, we appreciate them very much. So it's open to anybody that wants to come. and then the winner of that can donate that stuff to the school of their choice, which is really big, right? So $100,000 worth of equipment and tools for a school will be like life-changing for a lot of these programs.
Yeah, and you want to highlight those 3 companies one more time?
So it's Milwaukee, Southern California Collision Equipment, and then also Skillvary's putting it on.
Yep. And
And
they've
then-
also donated to the prize package.
Yeah.
So it's over $100,000 that these 3 companies have donated in equipment and products to give back to the industry. And I just think it's so neat that you can go and be a part of that. And this is going to local trade schools, right? We're going to get this in the hands of the future technicians in our industry to help them develop and hone their skills so they can hit the ground running when they hopefully come to work for some of us.
Exactly. Yeah, these schools need all the help that we're willing to give them.
Yeah, continue to invest in the youth. I think the training aspect of it is really important. Youth engagement is extremely important. If we don't put effort into it as an industry, we don't have a legacy. You know, we will go away. And if we don't get somebody excited to get back into this industry, then we don't have a future. So always continue to invest into that. To just a couple final thoughts. You know, there's OEM booths scattered throughout the show here. You know, get a chance to get out there, see the OEM, see what they're doing, what they're showcasing. This is your opportunity to meet with 4 or 5 of them, you know, whatever fits your schedule. Get a chance to ask them questions. And then, like we started off, take advantage of the hands-on experiences that you get here. Get in touch with those tools, understand how it applies to your business, if it makes sense. If not, look at a service option. You know, there's service partners that you can form out here as well.
You know, so the reality is that, you know, there's always, you know, our business is changing, right? So the more services that we can offer, it's going to be better for us in the long run, right? And these are the opportunities that you can to come learn about those services.
Well, with that, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you guys throughout the week, and I'm sure back at the stage a few times. And Friday is going to be a long way away, but we'll make it. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.